Hello, my name is Crystal and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Aprende inglés gratis con mansioningles.com y inglespodcast.com.
Hello, everyone, and a very big welcome to Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig. I'm Reza.
And I'm Craig.
How's it going, Craig?
Very well, thank you. Welcome to our award-winning podcast, Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig.
Award-winning, eh? Don't forget, we won the UK Podcaster's Best Education category, I think, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
But we're particularly glad to welcome you if you're a new listener. As you will soon see, this is the show where we're going to help you grow your grammar, vocalize your vocabulary, and perfect your pronunciation. Craig and I have about 45 years of experience between us. Not each, we're not that old. So we certainly know a few tricks of the trade to help you, don't we, Craig?
We certainly do. We'll do our best to help improve your English.
Tell me, Craig, have you got any nice listener feedback for us this week?
Yes, we did get an email from Roberto who says, "Hi friends, could the expression a trade-off between something and something be translated into Spanish as tira y afloja entre algo y algo?" Well, I'm not too sure about the Spanish expression tira y afloja, as I haven't heard of that and I couldn't find it on the internet. Mm-hmm. But a trade-off between something and something, my dictionary says sacrificar algo por. For example, you buy some new speakers for your stereo, for your TV. The new speakers look stylish, but I would not trade the sound off for the appearance. So it's kind of like there's some sort of surrender of some benefits for others. And trade-off as a phrasal verb, when it's a phrasal verb, is a phrasal verb that you can separate. You can put the object in the middle of the verb and the particle. So I would not trade it off. I would not trade the sound off for the appearance. So I would prefer better sound than a better appearance. Another example, the side effects of that new medicine are a trade-off to its benefits. Here we have trade-off as a noun. So the side effects of that new medicine are a trade-off to its benefits. In Spanish, that will be la compensación de los efectos secundarios de esta nueva medicina por los beneficios que produce es evidente, o algo así. Any comments, Reza? I'm not sure if that actually does mean tira y afloja entre algo y algo, but I think we've given an explanation.
I think your explanation's good. I've heard of tira and afloja, but I don't think it's exactly trade-off. Tira and afloja is to loosen and tighten. Yeah, like loosen or tighten your grip. Mm-hmm. It's not a trade-off. It's not about sacrifice. Tirar and afloja, it would be more like about controlling something. To give something or someone more freedom, aflojar, and then less freedom, tirar, kind of loosen and tighten. It's not trade-off. That's a different thing.
I think so. Do you think, Reza, that this podcast is a trade-off for getting lessons with a real English teacher?
It's a supplement, I think. A supplement.
Because, trade-off kind of means it's
we are really
it's not as good. Yeah, but we're not. People can't ask us direct questions and we respond immediately. So it's not. But a trade-off kind of implies something negative, something inferior, doesn't it?
Yes, very often. The idea that sacrificar, you've sacrificed, you've lost something.
Yeah.
You'll get something in return, but you've lost something to get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is definitely not a trade-off for English lessons is our sponsor, italki, and we'll be speaking more about italki later in the podcast. Some more feedback, Reza. We have a question from Maria Eugenia Abad, who says, "Hello, guys. I just want to say to you two, thank you very much for the podcast. It really helps me with pronunciation and a lot of things. She says. So there's a confusion there between a lot of and lots of. You can say either, but don't mix them. So she could say, Maria could say, a lot of things or lots of things, but not lot of things. I would like to suggest a podcast about the pronunciation of irregular verbs, infinitive, past simple, and past participle. It would be great if that's possible. Once again, thanks a lot. Well, Maria Eugenia, we spoke about pronunciation of regular verbs in the past tense with ed endings in episode 60. So anyone who's interested, go to inglespodcast.com/60 and you can hear and study all about ed endings of regular verbs in the past tense, the pronunciation of that. So, Reza, verbs, irregular verbs in the past tense. Why don't we look at a list of the more difficult verbs to pronounce or for irregular verbs and look at the verb, the past simple, and the past participle. So the three separate forms of the verbs, of irregular verbs. Be is the first one. Past simple of be?
A very irregular verb, because was or were, depending on the person. I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, you were, they were. So it depends, of course. Was or were.
Exactly. And the past participle?
Been.
Been, like Mr. Bean. But remember that when been is in connected speech in the middle of a sentence, it's usually pronounced been. I've been. B-I-N. I've been. I've been to America. I've been to Rome. Become.
Become, became, become.
Become, became, become. We've put some verbs in groups for you because although these verbs are irregular, some of them do have the same pronunciation in common. So our first group has the three sounds I, a, and a. For example, begin, began, begun. Now, do you have problems with your students pronouncing the middle one, Reza? Began.
Yeah, yes, the middle one and the last one. Yes, both.
I'm not sure that sound exists in Spanish. Ah.
I don't think it does.
It does. Maybe in Catalan and Valencia you have that ah sound, but it's quite difficult for Spanish speakers to pronounce the ah and differentiate to notice the difference between ah and ah. Began, begun. Now, there are several verbs that follow the same pronunciation pattern, so let's look at those. So we have begin, began, begun, drink.
Drink, drank, drunk.
Any more?
Ring, rang, rung. Sing, sang, sung. Sink, sank, sunk. Swim, swam, swum.
Sink, if you don't know, is hundirse in Spanish.
That's right.
Hundirse, sink, sank, sunk. So,
hundir or endurse. Hundir or I can't pronounce it. Hundir, was that it? Hundir or hundirse. You see, in English, reflexive, it would be the ship sank, past simple. El barco se inundó, reflexivo. But what about the Germans sank the British ship in the Second World War? That would be los alemanes inundó el barco británico, not reflexive. So it's the same verb in English. Just depends on the subject and object.
And you're studying French. Is it the same pronunciation as 5 in French?
Oh, well, forgive me. I'm a level B1 in French. My French class is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very similar, isn't it?
Very similar. Cinq. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's not identical, but I think it's similar. Cinq.
So let me repeat those if you want to repeat them after me to practice and make sure you get these vowel sounds correct. Begin, began, begun. Drink, drank, drunk. Ring, rang, rung. Sing, sang, sung. Sink, sank, sunk. Swim, swam, swum. Now the next group, Reza, let's talk about the next group. Difficult spelling, for example, brought, B-R-O-U-G-H-T, and verbs like caught, C-A-U-G-H-T.
So one is with O, brought, and one is with A, caught. But the pronunciation is the same.
Exactly. The pronunciation is the same. So if I say the verb, the infinitive, can you say the past simple and past participle? Bring,
Brought, brought.
buy,
Bought, bought.
catch,
Caught, caught.
fight,
Fought, fought.
think,
Thought, thought.
and teach.
Taught, taught.
So all of those vowel sounds with the past simple and past participle is the or sound, like door or saw. So brought and fought and taught.
And in all those cases, the past simple and the past participle happen to be identical.
They do, exactly the same. Not the case, not true with the verb to go. Go, the past simple,
Went,
and past participle.
gone.
Yeah. So we spoke about go and come the other day, so they're both irregular. Go, went, and gone, and come, came, and come.
Craig, do you always know if you're coming or going?
No, I don't. Sometimes I get very confused and I don't know if I'm coming or going. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm confused.
That's an expression. It's an idiom meaning you don't know what you're doing. I don't know if I'm coming or going.
Sometimes Razor doesn't know if he's coming or going. The next group of verbs all have the pattern, or have the thing in common that the participle ends in en. So forbid, forbade, forbidden. What's forbid in Spanish?
Prohibir.
Prohibir. Forbid, forbade, forbidden.
So it's a synonym in English for prohibit, more or less.
Can you tell us the past simple and past participle of these ones, Reza? Forget,
Forgot, forgotten.
forgive,
Forgave, forgiven.
choose,
Chose, chosen. I find students have a lot of trouble with that.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but they do. They do. They mix up the infinitive with the past. A lot of trouble with that. Let's repeat it.
Choose.
Chose, chosen.
Let's give examples. I choose to work at home
Every day.
most days.
Yeah. Just so they get it that it's present simple, not past.
Okay, thank you.
Give it a time expression.
Yeah,
Because it could have been past.
I choose to work. I choose to get up at 8 o'clock every day. I chose to get up at 7 yesterday. Past simple. And I have chosen a lovely piece of fish for lunch.
Oh, really? What type of fish?
I think it's red snapper, but I'm not too sure.
That's a good choice. That's the noun. CHOICE, which people also confuse. Choice, noun.
Another verb that's quite often confused is ride. So ride, Reza?
Past simple, rode. Past participle, ridden.
Ride, rode, ridden. Again, all of these verbs have the same en ending in the past participle.
Craig, have you ever ridden a motorbike?
I've ridden on the back of a motorbike, and I've ridden like small scooters, not very powerful motorbikes, and I've ridden on the back of 1 or 2 motorbikes that are quite powerful, but I don't have a license. Have you?
No. And do you know how to ride a horse?
Yes.
When was the last time you rode a horse? That's past simple.
I rode a horse, I think it was that was a donkey. I rode a donkey in Chile. Does that count?
Oh, yeah, that'll do.
I rode a donkey up
More
a
impressive.
mountain, and it was lovely. I really, really enjoyed it. In the rain. I rode a donkey in the rain in a mountain in Chile a few years ago. Let's look at the next one. Freeze.
Froze, frozen.
Freeze, froze, frozen.
The past participle is a particularly useful word because we often talk about frozen food.
Yeah, we use it as an adjective. Frozen food, frozen fish, frozen vegetables. Yeah. Break.
Broke, broken.
Hide. Esconder. Hide.
Hid, hidden.
Write.
Wrote, written. Craig, we'd better spell written. Can you spell it?
WRITTEN. WRITTEN. It's written.
It's very often misspelled, isn't it?
It is.
And then the present continuous, which is not our topic, but the present continuous, writing, W-R-I-T-I-N-G, is with one T, not double T. I find students often confuse that.
Yeah. They put double T's in the continuous form and one T in the participle form. And wrote has the silent W. Well, all of them have the silent W. Wrote, write, written. Write, wrote, written. Next one, rise. The sun rises.
And yesterday the sun rose at 8 o'clock.
And the price of petrol has risen, gone up. Speak.
Spoke, spoken.
Steal.
Stole, stolen.
Take.
Took, taken.
And eat.
An interesting one. Naturally, I would say eat, ate, eaten. Would you say the same?
No, I'd say ate.
I thought that might
I
be
was
the-
waiting for you to pronounce it to see how you pronounced it. So 2 possibilities.
Yeah. Have you checked this? Do dictionaries accept both?
I haven't checked it.
But you do hear both, don't you?
You do hear both, and I would think both are correct. So ate, or you say
Yesterday I ate.
at.
At.
I say ate because
Ate.
the E at the end
Yeah.
often
Yeah.
changes the sound of the vowel.
Yeah. I would say that your way is the more official way. It should be, as you say. But many people do say et. But it's logical that it should be Craig's way. Ate. Yeah, it is logical.
But both are correct. Obviously, if you're saying at, then it's a native speaker.
Craig, an important one which also causes confusion for me. In fact, it was a Spanish student who corrected me. A student corrected my mispronunciation of this very important word. Tell me the parts of say.
Say, said, said.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
I used to pronounce it say, said, said. But it isn't. It's said, said, as you say, as you just have said. And I checked it in the dictionary, and it was a student who picked me up on it. To pick someone up on something means to spot a mistake they've made. A Spanish student said to me, "You said said. Isn't it said?" And I said, yeah, I guess it should be. And I checked it, and my version was not accepted as correct. Only what Craig has just pronounced. Say, said, said.
Is that the people say said in colloquial
It's a
Belfast thing?
Yeah. So I was brought up pronouncing it say, said, but it should be say, said, said.
Mm-hmm.
And a Spanish student corrected me. Thank you to that student.
How do you pronounce W-A-L-L?
Sorry?
How do you pronounce W-A-L-L?
Wall.
See, a lot of students don't understand my pronunciation of that word. I say wall. Wall. Say it again?
Wall.
Yeah, your vowel sounds a bit wider. Wall. Interesting. Moving on, we have problems sometimes with the pronunciation of you in words like cut or run. It's not u, it's a, like up. So listen, cut.
Why do you keep repeating yourself, Craig?
Because the past simple and past participle forms of the verb to cut are exactly the same. Not the case, however, with run. Listen, run, ran, run. Can you repeat those 3, Reza?
Run, ran, run.
And cut?
Cut.
Cut. Do. What are the forms of do?
Do, did, done.
Now, although done is D-O-N-E, the pronunciation is exactly the same as the vowel sound in cut. It's a. So do, did, done.
Yeah, which isn't logical. You would expect it to be done, but it isn't. It's done.
That's why it's irregular. Draw, dibujar, draw.
What are the parts for that, Craig?
Drew, drawn. So draw, drew, drawn.
Can you give me a few example sentences with each part?
I don't often draw with a pencil. I don't enjoy drawing, so I don't draw very often. But last week, I drew a picture on my sister's birthday card. And I hadn't drawn for ages before that.
When was the last time that England drew with Spain in a football match?
Ah, that's clever. That's a different use of the word draw. Empatar?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. But they didn't draw in the rugby last week. They lost, unfortunately. Drive, conducir.
Drive, drove, driven.
Yeah, that's another en ending. That driven should be in the group of spoken, risen, written, hidden, broken, etc.
Craig, if you use the past participle as an adjective to describe personality, for example, if I say, my friend Bob is very driven, what do I mean?
He's very motivated. He's very maybe ambitious, and he's working very hard to arrive at his goals, to get to his targets in life. He's a driven person. He's motivated, highly motivated. Find,
found, found. Craig, can I ask you one?
Go on then.
Tell me the parts of the verb to found.
Like to found a company.
Right.
Founded is the past, ed, and it's regular, so founded.
Yep.
Founded. This La Mansión del Inglés was founded in 2001.
So to found is a regular verb, whereas to find is an irregular verb. And people often confuse them because they share certain words, but that's just coincidence. For example, as Craig just said, the Mansión Inglés was founded several years ago. Founded. From the verb to found. But yesterday, I found my pen, which I had been looking for. I found my pen is the past of to find.
So to find, encontrar, and to found, fundir. Fly is often is problematic for Spanish speakers. Fly, volar.
Fly, flew, flown.
Fly, flew, flown. Have you flown anywhere recently?
Not recently, and I'm jealous of you. You recently flew to Bhutan, didn't you?
Yes, I did. During the summer, I was lucky enough to fly to Bhutan for a holiday. But you flew to Belfast.
Yes, not quite as exotic, but yes, I did. Yeah.
Not quite as far.
How was your flight? That's the noun, F-L-I-G-H-T. How was your flight to Bhutan?
It was a wonderful flight. The flight into Bhutan from Kathmandu was very scary because it's full of mountains and it's very difficult for the plane to land. So there isn't much space for the plane to land in the valley. So that was interesting and a little bit scary. Reza, let's take a break from our irregular verbs and speak about and thank our sponsor, italki. I don't think I've told you this, but I've decided to improve my Spanish with italki because I've still got mistakes, especially with like verb tenses. Verb tenses in the past is a big problem, so I've decided to take a few lessons with italki. The kind of thing I want to study is, like I say, the present perfect a lot in Spanish. Yo he hecho mis deberes, because it's easier for me to say that than yo hizo. Is it hizo?
It's not hizo. It's yo
exactly.
hice.
That's what I need to learn. What is it? Hice.
Hice,
Yeah.
hiciste, hizo. Hicimos, hicisteis, hicieron.
You see, you're really, really good at that.
Toma.
No, you are. You are, but I find it difficult to remember my verbs in the past simple. So I overuse present perfect. Because it's easier because you just need the participle. So I'm going to go to italki and study with a Spanish teacher. I'm going to search for probably a female Spanish teacher because now I know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I just feel more comfortable with a female teacher. I always have. I just feel more relaxed and more comfortable with a female teacher. There isn't so much ego in there. So,
And of course, in italki, you're free to choose your own teacher.
Exactly. So what I'll do before we have the next podcast, I'll go to italki. I'm going to search for a teacher. And what I have to do is I buy italki credits, which are called ITCs. And then I'm going to look for a teacher in my price range, like for a price I can afford. If you want to do something similar with your English, then go to inglespodcast.com/italki and click on Start Speaking, Find a Teacher. And then you can get a special deal that italki are offering to listeners of Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig. And they will give you 100 free italki credits when you sign up for their paid service. So you buy one and you get one free, basically. So I will let you know, Reza, how next week how I am getting on with my Spanish teacher.
And you know, Craig, I might look for a French teacher myself. I'm starting to revise the French that I learned at school.
Okay. Are you taking lessons online or?
I'm going to classes, but I would like to supplement it with perhaps an online italki teacher.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
the more the merrier, the better.
So we will keep you posted, which means we will tell you the news of what's happening in a future podcast. And Reza and I would like to thank italki for sponsoring Aprender Inglés con Reza y Craig. Let's get back to our verbs, Reza. Where were we with our irregular verbs?
Regular verbs.
Sit.
Is that a command or?
Sit and beg. Sit.
That reminds me of a joke. Can I tell the listeners a quick joke?
Okay.
A doctor joke. Doctor jokes in English begin, doctor, doctor. So a man goes to see the doctor and he says, doctor, doctor, I have a problem, a psychological problem. I keep imagining I'm a dog. And the doctor says, okay, well, just sit on the couch and we'll talk about it. And the man says, I'm not allowed.
I'm not allowed on the couch.
I'm not allowed to sit on the couch because he's a dog.
Because I'm a dog. Very good. Sit, sat, sat. So sit, sat, sat. Remember that which is difficult. Practice that. The mouth has to be very wide. It comes from the back of the mouth. Sat, sat. Next one, blow, soplar.
Blew, blown.
Any examples?
I'm afraid to admit, after winning the podcast award, I have blown my own trumpet. I have blown, past participle, I have blown my own trumpet.
What does that expression mean, to blow your trumpet?
To blow your own trumpet means to talk about an achievement of yours. So I've been telling people, oh, we won the podcast award. I can't believe it. So if someone blows their own trumpet, they're saying good things about themselves and they shouldn't really. But hey, I couldn't control myself. I'm so happy. I just had to blow my own trumpet.
So our next verb kind of connects to that. Our next verb is grow, crecer. So grow, grew, grown. So do you think your ego has grown as a result of winning the award?
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just very happy about it, but I know my limitations.
So grow, you grow flowers, you grow a moustache, you grow a beard, for example, and past participle, grown. Next one, hear.
Heard. I made a special effort there, Craig, to sound like an English person. Did you notice that?
Yes, because let me try to imitate a Belfast accent. Heard.
Good.
Is that okay?
Exactly. We've just inverted our roles there. Because I would normally say hear, heard. Plenty of R sound. And Craig would normally say
heard. Have you heard about the doctor?
Mm-hmm. And what about an average American, if there is such a thing? What would they say? There are lots of American accents, but heard, maybe.
Heard.
Have you heard the news on in the radio? Have you heard?
No, I haven't heard.
Yeah, I said American, not Canadian. You sounded a bit Canadian there, because Canadians are a little bit kind of more country folksy, aren't they?
Some Alabama. No. Reza?
Yes. Sorry. No.
Do you know the past of no?
Yes. No, new, known are the three parts.
Can you say that again?
Know, knew, known.
Okay. Know, knew, known. And leave?
Left, left.
What time did you leave home this morning?
About 10 to 11 to come to Craig's house for 11:30, and I was still late. I always am.
So you left on time?
Yes, but I arrived late, as ever.
So the past simple and past participle, the second and third form, exactly the same as izquierda, left in English, left and right. I left on time. Mean is our next verb. What does it mean? What are the pasts of mean?
Well, Craig, let's hear your voice. I'm sure listeners are getting a bit tired of mine. You tell
Okay.
us the parts.
Mean, meant. So what does it mean, or what did you mean? I meant that. Be careful, because there are two vowels in the spelling, meant, one vowel sound, meant. So I meant to tell you, but I forgot. Or I meant to go, but I didn't.
Now, the next one is a very tricky one to coordinate spelling and pronunciation. To read.
Yes, because the spelling is exactly the same for all three forms. And the pronunciation?
You tell me.
Read, read, read. So the pronunciation is like it's R-E-D, but the spelling's different. It's like the colour, red. I read a newspaper yesterday.
That reminds me of that ancient joke. Here we're going to groan again. To groan is to go, oh no. Horrible.
Reza's jokes.
About colours. What's black and white and red all over? And newspaper.
Yeah, but you have to explain all over. All over is the same in every place.
All over can mean in many places, or it can mean
Todo.
entirely.
Entirely.
So something's black and white, a newspaper is black and white. And red? Well, it is red from the verb to read. Read, red sounds the same as the colour red. But of course, they're different words with different spelling.
See is our next verb, to see. The vowel sound of the past simple is or. So it's see, saw, and seen is the participle. See, saw, seen.
Here's a tricky one for you, Craig. Shoot.
Shot, shot.
Well, not tricky for you. I shouldn't have said that. Tricky for our listeners. It's often confused. Shoot, shot, shot.
So shoot with double O and shot one O. Shoot, shot, shot. Remember, you can shoot a person with a gun, and you can also shoot a film, which is rodear.
Craig, the famous film starring Charlton Heston and Sophia Loren. Oh, I love Sophia Loren. Can't stand Charlton Heston though. It's true. But Sophia Loren, what a fantastic actress. And still looks great, by the way. Where was the film The Cid, as we call it in English, El Cid or El Cid, shot?
Where was it shot? I want to say Spain, so I'm going to guess Almeria.
Peñíscola, as far as I know.
Really?
Which is in La Comunidad Valenciana.
Quite close to here.
Yes. Which is where it should be shot, because some of the action takes place in Valencia. In fact, in the closing scene, I think in theory, the Cid is supposed to be riding along the beach in Valencia, which is where we are right now, actually, beside the beach. But in fact, they shot it in Peñíscola, but it's supposed to be Valencia. They shot it in Peñíscola because Peñíscola isn't full of tall buildings like Valencia now, which wouldn't look like, that time period. That's why it was shot in Peñíscola, to look like Valencia.
I didn't know that. Do you know where the spaghetti westerns were shot with Clint Eastwood? A few dollars more and the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I think they were mostly Almeria, weren't they, in Spain?
Yeah, they were shot in Almeria.
So why they call them spaghetti westerns? They should really call them spaghetti and tapas westerns, I think, because they're as much Spanish as they are Italian, right?
Patatas bravas westerns. No, I think because they go on for a long time. I think that's the reason, because they're quite long films.
Is that what you heard? I heard it because the directors are Italian. It was Ennio Morricone.
Sergio Leone.
Wrote the music.
Yeah.
And Sergio Leone was the director, so very Italian films.
Okay, that's
why they're called
Yeah, that's
spaghetti
got
western.
more sense to it than my explanation, so I'm going to go with that. Next verb we have is sleep.
Tell us the parts.
Slept, slept. Sleep, slept, slept. Not too difficult. The next one, however, could be a bit tricky, and often is. Tear. Now, tear, the infinitive, T-E-A-R, looks like tear. Lagrima.
Yeah.
But when it's a verb, the pronunciation is tear. The past simple, tore, and the past participle, torn. For example, I tore a page out of my book. I tore the paper. So when you tear something, it often sounds like this. I tore my book. And the past participle, torn. Next one, tell. Contar. Told, told. Tell, told, told. You think of an example with tell? Or told?
Yes. You shouldn't tell lies.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Don't tell lies. Now, that's a confusing collocation because many Spanish speakers say, don't they? Mm-hmm. Say the truth. No, tell the truth.
And told, Craig, has anyone ever told you that you're
handsome?
Yes. Why not?
No.
Has anyone ever told you you're handsome? No?
No.
Oh. Well, they might someday.
They might someday.
Yeah. It's not going to be me, but somebody might.
Throw. Through, thrown. Throw, through, thrown. Difficult because of the TH sound. Put your tongue slightly between your teeth and make this sound. Throw, through, thrown. If you have problems with that sound, you could cheat with an F because fro, through, thrown is not the same, but it's quite. You could probably get away with escapar with that, couldn't you?
Yeah. In fact, I would go.
I threw the ball.
Yeah, I would go as far as to say that many native English speakers, in fact, do just that.
Especially from the south of England.
The south of England, southeast of England, some people don't bother pronouncing th the correct way. They say fa. It's something which is very closely connected with what we call a Cockney accent.
Mm-hmm.
A very kind of traditional working class London accent.
East London accent.
Right?
And from the Thames estuary going down the river of the Thames. Very common. Mm-hmm. Understand. Understood. Understood. The past simple, the same as the third form. Understand. Understood. Understood.
And then obviously that would be the same for the opposite. Misunderstand. Misunderstood. Misunderstood.
Exactly.
Craig, you know me. I suffer a lot. I'm a misunderstood character.
Many people misunderstand you, don't they?
They do. They think I'm interesting and intelligent until they get to meet me and realize that they were wrong.
No. There are only two more verbs we have to cover. Wake, woke, woken. Often as a phrasal verb with wake up. So woke up and woken up. So what time did you wake up this morning?
I woke up rather late today at about 10 o'clock. But hey, it's a holiday.
It's a fiesta.
Holiday. It's a holiday here in Spain. It's the El Día de la Hispanidad, the day of Spanishness. I don't quite know how to translate it.
Yeah. And here we are teaching English.
And I discovered something, Craig, which I should have really known. You possibly did. It's also a holiday in the United States today.
Is it?
I found that out because I was in contact with someone who's in the United States. And I said, oh, remember, it's a holiday tomorrow in Spain. They said, yeah, in the United States as well. And I said, oh, is that a coincidence? Our holiday here is El Día de la Hispanidad. And they said, no, it's no coincidence. Do you know what day it is in the United States today, the 12th of October?
Well, I know it's not Thanksgiving Day because that's in November. Is it Columbus Day?
It's Columbus Day.
Columbus Day.
Which, of course, isn't a coincidence that it's the same day. Who brought Spanishness to the United States?
Christopher Columbus.
And I never knew that, but it's not a coincidence that the Americans have it the same day as the Spanish Columbus Day.
So no one's working in America today. It's a national holiday.
A few places are open, but most schools, universities, etc. are shut. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. I just discovered that this year.
I didn't know that either. Our final verb, wear. Vestir o llevar. Wear. Wear, wore, worn. Another difficult one. Wear, W-E-A-R.
I think I've affected you, Craig. You went a bit American there.
Did I?
You put in a bit more sound.
Did I?
No, that's fine by me.
Let's try again. Wear, wore, worn.
And I would say wear, wore, worn. I'm sticking in lots of R. I don't care. I'm sticking my R's in. I stuck my R's in.
Don't stick your ass in too much.
Wait, shall we edit this? No, keep this in, Craig, please.
No, I'll remove this. Don't worry.
You remove my R's.
I'll remove your ass. So now it's your turn to practice your English. We want you to tell us what you did yesterday and use as many of these verbs in the past participle as possible. And also tell us what you have done this week to practice the past participle. So past simple and past participle of irregular verbs. Send us a voice message with SpeakPipe, which is our voice message service on inglespodcast.com, or send us an email to Craig, that's me, at inglespodcast.com, or BelfastReza, that's Reza, BelfastReza at gmail.com. On next week's episode, we have some proverbs for you, and David from Mexico asks us about adverbs, adjectives, verbs, and nouns. So until next episode, thank you for listening. It's a huge and loving goodbye from me.
And the same from me.
Goodbye.